I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com. Today we're going to review crash damage on the all-new Vortex V3 2.0 rear sets. Okay, so my little buddy Max decided to throw the bike down the road when we were at Barber. He didn't really do it on purpose. Things happen. He's lucky that he had his dad there to fix the bike for him. The rear sets. We had the Vortex V3 2.0 rear sets on the R3. I had them on my Suzuki GSX-R 1000 at the same event, which is a good thing because I needed some spare parts to get him back out there and just have him totally whole. I have the old parts on here right now, the stuff that was damaged. You can see the foot peg is worn down, to give you an idea of how much, and he crashed in turn 5. It was a reasonable low side. It was a real crash, so he lost about that much of the foot peg. The toe piece is bent for the shifter. The shift pedal itself, it was bent a little bit. I was able to straighten that at the racetrack to get clearance again, so it would shift. When it came in, it was locked up. You couldn't do anything because this was bent a little bit, the knuckle was bent a little bit, and then the bracket itself was just kind of up against the swing arm, just really close to it. I think part of that was maybe the frame had yielded a little bit, maybe a little bit of the bracket. That I straightened out with just a pry bar, piece of cake. I was able to straighten out the shift pedal enough down there to make it better and have plenty of clearance. When we got home here, I actually disassembled the rear set, took this off, and went over to the vise and some soft jaws and straightened it out so it's 100% reusable now. There's really no need to replace that in my opinion. While we were down there, I could have gotten him back out on track without replacing any parts, but it was his first crash, so you want him to feel comfortable. So what I did is I had the Vortex V3 2.0s on my motorcycle. I took off my entire foot peg assembly, literally one nut, okay? There's a 13 mil nut on the back of this, held this with a 5 mil internal hex T handle. I replaced that whole piece in under 60 seconds. That was really easy to do. You could replace just the foot peg itself. We're gonna kind of cover all that here, and I've even got costs for these pieces too. Then I replaced his toe piece, because this was bent, you know, like I said, I just wanted him to feel good and comfortable out there after that first crash. A lot of times when you're buying a rear set kit, you know, crash damage, that's something, you know, what is it gonna take? How available are the spare parts? What are the costs gonna be? And how well do they hold up in a wreck? Team M4 X-Star Suzuki, that's a team we're partnered with and we sponsor. They use these on the Suzuki race bikes, and let me tell you, those guys are throwing them down the road. That's what happens when you're competing. They've been using this setup for a few years now, and they have good feedback. I'd asked the technicians how they felt about them. They told me that realistically, the only damage, it was normal, like any other kit. It was typically just the foot peg. I'd actually also called and spoke with Vortex to see what are you selling most often for replacement parts. I look at this foot peg replacement in a couple of different ways. If you had this whole assembly like I did, because I took it off my bike and I didn't have a spare foot peg, I was able to replace this in just a couple minutes. It was super easy. And you know what, and that convenience factor was really nice. How much of this was actually damaged? On the R3, in the end, all that needed to be replaced was just the foot peg. If you buy just the foot peg and you want to replace it at the track, you see, I'm gonna have to go in here and I'm gonna have to dig out, right? Because you've got that plastic plug is kind of in there, you got a little bit of aluminum in the way, so you're gonna have to get in there with a screwdriver or something and kind of clean this out. And you can see that this just makes the process take that much longer because you have that aluminum is all deformed, right? It's kind of plugging that hole up. So it makes it a little bit more challenging to do at the track. Totally doable, right? A little bit of patience here. I'll be able to fish all that out and replace the foot peg. If you're doing only the peg, it comes with the bolt that holds it to the bracket as well. So you get the peg and the bolt that bolts it to this bracket. That is going to run you $19.81. The good part is it's universal. It can go one side or the other. Okay, so you only really need one because you don't very often crash both sides of the bike. If you do, odds are you need more than just foot pegs to get back out on track. So that'd be one way to do it. If you're the type, you're like, you know what, I just want to be able to just real quick, fast, make it perfect again. For a complete setup, okay, if you want this bracket, the foot peg, this bolt, the adjuster, and I'm assuming reusing the washer and the nut, you're looking about $50. That's going to be complete, and that's the easiest way to do it. This bracket right here is $18. This one is $11.01. They said they've had very few, if any, of these really damaged in a crash. They've seen a couple of these, but most often it was just simply the foot peg. Foot peg itself, once again, is only $19.81. The bent toe piece. This comes only one way, and it's complete, just like this. Cost on that is going to be $18.66. That's your price. So, end of the day, just thought it'd be great to show that they held up well. I could have fixed everything at the track if it wasn't for it was his first crash. I would have just for myself gotten it all straightened out and not even dealt with it till I came home. When you want to fix it up and make the bike nice again. To get back on track, all I realistically needed was, basically a pry bar, right? To get in here and just kind of get things straightened out enough to get all the clearance back. All in all, I'd say I'm happy with it. I like the design. I kind of, when you see something new like this, you wonder, is this a vulnerable point right here? And with this crash and the other feedback I've gotten to, it shows that no different than any other rear set kit, typically it's going to be just a foot peg. There you have it, Vortex V3 2.0 rear set crash damage repair. I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com.